courthouse.
We had no chance.
This courthouse is designed when you would come here and you look like us, to slaughter you. That's what they were.
What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words, don't quote anybody, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character. He was not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
The Karmelo Anthony case has taken everybody. I mean, it's all over social media, the news. You cannot escape it. And there's a lot of reasons why, and a lot of these reasons are wrong. And there's some things that I'm going to say in this video that might make you upset. So, fair warning before you proceed. But we're going to talk about this. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. This is Fugitive TV, and I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases. Now, most of our cases are about missing individuals or fugitives that are on the run, or, you know, any true crime. And we take a look at it from a different perspective, okay? Now, see, I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran for 15 years after I committed some white-collar crime. Then I lived in different countries, assumed different names, turned myself in. Now I have this channel. I help family members locate missing individuals. I am also a motivational speaker. I do a lot of things. And what I try and do here on this channel is sometimes give you a different perspective, a deeper thought, then instead of just looking at this on the surface level, okay? So one of these cases right here, this case dealing with Karmelo Anthony, okay? I did a live a couple days ago, and I was on live when the verdict came in. Now, for you guys that don't know, if you don't know, I'm just going to give you a brief description of what happened. All right. So Karmelo Anthony is a young kid. At the time, he was 17 years old. Now, this is out of Texas. OK, it was at a track meet. It started raining. And when it started raining, he ran up under a tent. But the tent was for the opponents. Okay, so it was another team's tent. Now, he's under the tent. While he's under the tent, apparently he does know one person. So they're talking, and while they're talking, two kids approach him, and they say he has to leave. You know, it's not his tent. And the individuals that approach him apparently are Austin and Hunter Metcalf. They are twins, okay? Same age as Karmelo, but they are bigger than him. Now, we're going to get into what the details say, what this person says, that person says in a bit. But an altercation breaks out verbally, all right? And from there, Karmelo Anthony says he has his like backpack with him, or a bag, has his hand in a bag. It says, touch me or grab me and you'll find out. Well, I guess the student from the other track meet went to touch or grab Karmelo, and Karmelo pulls out a knife, stabs the other student in the chest, and then runs off. Unfortunately, that student passed away from the wound. And that student's name was Austin Metcalf. He was 17 years old, same age as Karmelo. Okay. Karmelo ran into the arms of a coach or a teacher or something. And people said he did seem remorseful. He was crying, wondering what happened, you know. But this whole thing went to trial. Karmelo, they gave him a first-degree charge, murder. Now, smaller channels like mine, we can't say that word, red rum, or this is why we say unaliving. is because they'll flag your channel, sometimes even flag, or take your video down. Or if your video's left up, they just don't spread it out. Okay. Well, the trial just happened. It was a quick trial. I mean, very quick. And we're going to get into the details of how quick this trial was. But he was convicted, guilty. Then the jury came back and said he's going to serve 35 years. And we're going to break that down too, because he doesn't have to serve 35 years, but that's what he got, was a 35-year sentence. All right. So that's just a quick recap of the case, just in case you don't know. Now, this whole case has turned into pretty much black versus white, because Karmelo is black. He's a black kid out of Texas. And Austin Metcalf, he's a white kid out of Texas. So it completely just got out of control, out of hand, if you ask me, that is. And I can see where some people are saying this, like, hey, black versus white. I can see it. But I also can see that, hey, maybe it's not black versus white, So I'm going to break all that down to you. And like I said earlier, be warned, because I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to say some things that some people probably need to hear, not want to hear. There's a difference between want to hear and need to hear.
They said, as a former prosecutor, this is legal lynching that happened in this slaughterhouse. This is a slaughterhouse. This is not a courthouse. This courthouse is designed, when you would come here and you look like us, to slaughter you. That's what they were. Those twins are domestic racist terrorists.
Illegal lynching, domestic terrorists. That person is a lawyer. My question is, who gave that person a law degree or a bar card? Unfortunately, it gets worse.
They should have both been arrested.
They both should have been dead. Both brothers. Both of them should have been dead. You ask me?
They both should be dead, referencing the twins.
Now, after the situation, after the stabbing occurred, after Austin passed away, Karmelo's family decided to hold a press conference, okay? Decided to hold a press conference. And before we get into the press conference, Austin's dad also spoke with the media. And Austin's dad really didn't attack Karmelo. Think about this. You're the parent, okay? You're the parent, and Austin Metcalf is your kid. All right. Now, I don't know about you guys. I actually, unfortunately, know what it's like to lose a kid. I lost my 3-year-old son in an accident, a car accident. So I know what it's like to lose your child. Okay. And you feel like you should have been there. You feel like you didn't protect him. All these things go through your head. Now, even though he lost Austin to a different way, a different type of situation, he still lost him. Okay. And I'm pretty sure he's sitting at home right now, thinking what I just said. I wasn't there. You can't help but think that, and you're going to think that for the rest of your life. All right. And as the parent of the kid that did lose their life, especially by the hands of another, you will have anger. You will have rage. So when Austin's dad was speaking out to the media, I'm sorry, but if he wanted to, let's say, verbally attack the other party, the defendants, when he first started speaking, now this is after it happened, because this situation happened, I believe it was a year ago. Okay. Might even be more than a year ago. He had all the right to verbally say something wrong, bad. Hey, you did this. You need to go to prison for the rest of your life. You can't blame him, but that's not what he did. He went on this interview and talked about forgiveness, saying that I forgive but he won't forget. And karma can come around. So I actually give him credit and respect for how he approached and how he handled that side of it. Okay. And he also said, this is not black versus white. Here's what he said during one of his very first interviews.
Mentioned a few times that you had forgiven the suspect for what
correct.
He did.
I do.
But we just informed you about these documents and
That doesn't change anything.
Okay.
This has to do with me and God. God teaches us in the Bible. He talks about forgiveness. He also talks about revenge. Not for me to seek. God will take care of it. Karma, I believe in it. It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this.
Then you have Karmelo's side, okay? And I'm not blaming Karmelo I'm not saying I'm not blaming him for the incident that took place, but I'm not blaming him for what these adults have done in these press conferences and these interviews. I'm not blaming him because he's the kid. He's probably listening to what everybody's telling him, okay? And I think this was the downfall. The downfall that put the black eye, the black cloud on the case of Karmelo Anthony was when his parents did that press conference with the minister, okay? And the minister's name is Dominique Alexander, okay? Dominique Alexander is the minister's name. Well, the press conference happens, and you know who shows up at the press conference in the back? Austin Metcalf's dad. Now, see, I was following the story a little bit, but when this happened, I kind of chose not to watch it after that because of Austin Metcalf's dad shows up, and to me, Dominique Alexander treated the parent of who was really the true victim because Austin lost his life. He lost his life. It wasn't like Austin had a pistol to Karmelo. It wasn't like Austin had a knife to Karmelo. Austin didn't even have a weapon. Now, yes, Austin's bigger, but he didn't have a weapon. And we're going to get into those self-defense claims, okay? We're going to get into that. But before all that, okay? At that moment, Austin's dad, his own father, shows up, and he shows up to the press conference. Now, maybe I guess because I know what it's like to lose a child, that could be why. Me, if I was up there holding the press conference, let's say I'm Karmelo Anthony's father, mother, or whatever it is, okay? And I'm up there holding the press conference, and I see the victim's father walk in. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I'm not going to disrespect him. He lost his son. You know what I'm going to do? If anything, I'm going to try to offer an olive branch. I'm going to try and ask for forgiveness. I'm going to try and say, sir, I am so sorry that, your son lost his life. I am so sorry that he lost his life. And all this was over what? Some nonsense. Sir, I am sorry. We don't know what could have happened if that was said. But you know what was said instead? This.
A deep note that I can tell America. What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words. don't quote anybody, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf, because we respect the dignity of life and loss. And as a minister, I would not attack a grieving family, even if I disagree with them. When I have stood before this podium for people who have died at the hands of law enforcement, I have asked for that same manner of respect. And even when the shoe is on the other foot, I will not do that. And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words.
And I'm sorry, Dominic Alexander, that was wrong. I'm sorry, that was wrong. It was. To approach the situation like that. Everybody here in this situation on both sides need empathy. Some sort of, hey, what is going on? Because both families got ruined. Both families are ruined. Except one lost his freedom and the family can at least visit him and call him and send letters and send commissary and things like that. The other family has to literally go to his grave site or tombstone, or if they cremated him, I don't know, but they have to. That's the only way they can see. There's no letters, there's no phone calls, there is no nothing. So this right here to me was the turning point in the whole case. The whole situation was this point right here. If you would have reached out, you guys should have pushed Dominic out the way and reached out with open arms. Your son, okay, is sitting in, your son could be going to the jail for the rest of his life because your son, hey, he took the life of his son. So your son's took the life of his son. Why not try to, yes, it might not be cozy and love and joy right there, but why not try to show some sort of remorse, some sort of, hey, we're sorry, right then and there on national TV? That might have put all of this black and white to bed. If that moment would have happened right there, we could be talking something different about this case and situation. You never know what his dad might have done. We don't know. Apparently, he's a man of faith. I watched his interviews. He talks about it. I don't know if he really is, but hey, and he seems like he is, but I don't know. I don't know him. Just like I don't know Karmelo Anthony's parents, but I know what I see on TV. And that to me was wrong. That was the downfall of everything. And not only that, the person you have speaking up there, this Minister Dominic Alexander, not to ridicule anybody for their criminal history and their background. I have one, okay? But there's levels to this stuff, okay? And there's certain things that, let's just put it this way. If there's a family fighting in the courtroom, all right, and this family member is looking at spending the rest of his life, and they ask me to speak up for them, I might tell them, hey, I might be the wrong person. I don't want to, even though I changed my life around, I don't want my background to get thrown into your situation. Okay. And now they're looking at you funny. But hey, that's just me. I'm different. But this man's history, felony injury to a child in 2009. What is that? And then forging a check, leading police on a high-speed chase. All this is in the same year, 2009. Stealing a car, falsely claiming a car was stolen. Felony theft of property in 2016 from $2,500 to $30,000. Felony assault causing serious bodily injury 2019. Misdemeanor assault 2019. Continuous violence against the family 2019. I believe that was like another woman. I'm not sure, but I think so. Theft, making false report. And this guy is out here speaking at a press conference, ridiculing the father of the son who passed away. That is where I turned my TV off. I didn't even want to hear no more. I was done after that, because when I saw that, I was like, I see where this is going.
I forgot, and the twin brother would have been with him. Fuck you see.
They should have both been arrested.
They both should have been dead. The brothers. Both of them should have been dead. You ask me? Don't record me. I'm asking you not to record me.
Okay, you can't really understand her, but what she's saying is both of them should be dead.
Now, when court happens, oh man, I've brought up a couple cases where attorneys I feel like they have not done their job. They need, and this is one I felt that an attorney didn't do his job. I'm sorry, in this episode, everybody gets it. Everybody gets to smoke. Everybody gets ridiculed. Okay, everybody in this situation. All right. I'm not leaving nobody out. But in this court case, this is a case where I see again where the prosecution walks all over the defense, okay? And I'm not saying Karmelo Anthony was innocent. If you want my honest opinion, and don't hate me, I felt he should go to jail, but I felt it was for manslaughter. That's what I felt. Before they even put M. Slaughter on the table, I've been saying M. Slaughter. That's what I have been saying. Before they even went to court, all that, I said M. Slaughter. Probably M. Slaughter is what it should be, okay? Because I don't think he woke up that morning, grabbed his knife and was like, yeah, I'm going to go do this to somebody today. I don't think that happened, all right? 17-year-olds make stupid indecisions at that time, and I think that's what happened, all right? But neither here and there or there. But during court, you have two sides. You have Karmelo's side and you have Austin's family side. Karmelo's side, what they're saying is the witnesses were in court lying. They're saying they're in court lying. Okay. We don't know. None of us were there. That's the issue. So how do we even know? Then you have the other side, we're saying they're not lying. There's rumors that Karmelo got jumped. His phone broke, all kind of rumors going out. There was so much stuff going around in this case. I'm going to tell you there's a couple things that even was told to me that ended up being false. All right. There was so much things going on with social media about this that you didn't know what was what. And what made it harder was in the courtroom, there was no cameras allowed. So like that one picture of Karmelo crying with the lawyer, that's fake. It's AI. Then there was one picture going around of saying that the DA and the judge and the Metcalfs all know each other or something like that. That was fake. That's not even real. But I'm seeing comments left that, it should have been. And even if it was true, then that would be a fault on the defense. Should have been a conflict of interest, right? You would think if it was true. I don't know if the defense attorney prepped the only few witnesses that he put on the stand. But if he did, it wasn't a good job, because even one witness for Karmelo got on the stand. Okay. And then ended up saying it was Karmelo's fault. His own witness said that. You got a witness and you got him coming up on the stand and he ends it with it was Karmelo's fault. No wonder why they found you guilty. He wasn't even like, what kind of prep was this? It sounds like it was none. Just throw you up there and freestyle. We're going to ask you some questions, okay? I don't get it. I don't see why the lawyer wasn't fighting for the slaughter charge. Here's the thing you guys don't realize, people. Self-defense, okay? That was their claim. When you're claiming self-defense, there has to be a reason why you had to defend yourself. Who can tell the story better of why you had to defend yourself better than you? You're the one right there caught in the moment. You're the one right there that decided to take that action, no matter what it was, to defend yourself. So who can explain it better than you? Most self-defense cases, and if it's truly self-defense, like I was defending myself, you have nothing to lie about. You have nothing to get on the stand and the prosecutor cross-examines you to lie, okay? They will get up and testify on their behalf. So the jury or the judge, they can see you're remorseful. They can try and understand why you did what you did. Why didn't the defense attorney put him on a stand to show that? If it's the truth. Because if it's the truth, the prosecution can't catch him in a lie. How you gonna catch you in a lie if it's the truth? Now, if it isn't the truth, then yes. Then you don't put the person on the stand. Because then you worry about prosecution to catch him in a lie. Now he's double guilty. Now he's getting more time. But if that was the truth, and it was truly him defending himself, put the boy on the stand. Let us see what he was thinking right then and there. I think one of the issues was they was trying to go for just completely innocence. I think that was one of the issues. They're trying to go to complete innocence. I don't think they should have went that way. I think they should have went for, hey, the M slaughter. That's what they should have been fighting for. Go up on that stand. Admit you did it because you already admitted to it. So admit you did it, but tell these people why you did it. Show you're remorseful. And then when the prosecution comes, ask questions, tell the truth. You ain't got nothing to hide, right? But who am I? I guess I'm not the attorney, right? I guess I'm not. But this is why, another reason we're still having this debate over this whole thing. If Karmelo Anthony's parents would have took that mic away from that minister that day and said probably what was right, it probably would have been different. If Karmelo Anthony would have took the stand, it might have been different.
Sat down to break their silence and to let the world know how they're feeling as their son begins his 35-year sentence for murder. Despite what a jury found, his parents dispute their son ever wanted to kill Austin Metcalf.
My son is no murderer. My son didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself. And that's what hurt so bad.
His mother recounts the moment she addressed the jury and made her plea to them during the sentencing phase.
To have mercy on my son. That's what I told the jury. I know they had their minds made up already, so.
We all still have questions, like it says below. Why did he have the knife in the first place? Now in Texas, it is legal to carry. That's not the issue because it is legal to carry. But it is illegal to carry it to school, school grounds, school functions, events, school sporting events. It is illegal. was 17 at that time, growing up to be an adult. Now he's what, 19? So 17 at that time. Yes, go ahead, carry a knife. But at school, make sure you take that knife and keep it home or whatever. Keep it off school grounds. Parents, if you arm yourself and you got a weapon, and you got kids in school, you know for a fact that school is a no gun zone. And you know for a fact you're supposed to take that weapon off of you when entering the school zone. You know this. So the biggest question we all have is, why did you have it at the event? Then people are asking, I don't see how he was found guilty. I don't see how he was. Well, I mean, if you really take your emotion out of it and just think logically, think of the facts, okay? And I'm gonna break it down to you like a fifth grader. He had the weapon in his backpack. He knew he had the weapon in his backpack. Somebody approaches him and then he tells them, pretty much dares them, you take one more step and see what happens. So it wasn't like it was an instant reaction. Let's say your hand's not in the bag, your hand's to your sides. Then somebody grabs you. Then you're like, oh, then you reach in the bag and different story. But if you're like, let's see what happens. You already have in your head, you're predetermined that you're going to do this. That was how he got found of that charge of murder. All because of that statement. But if we would have heard why he had it there in the first place, maybe it could have been a different story. Maybe he wouldn't have got charged with it. But it's a bunch of buts. Now, people are asking me, why would you think M. Slaughter? Well, here's the situation, guys. If you never had the knife in the first place, this probably would have never happened, right? Let's be honest. If he never had the knife on school grounds, which you're not supposed to have it, or sporting events, whatever, this would have never happened in the first place. I hear some people talking about that. Well, if that happened, if you didn't have it, we'd be talking about Karmelo would be dead. We can't predict the future. We can't. But if you say that, then I can also tell you, well, how do we know they were going to kill him right there on the track floor with their bare hands? But if he would have never had it, this wouldn't have happened. Austin would still have his life. If he would have left the tent when they were saying so, this would have never happened. Karmelo's ego might have been a little bit hurt, but Austin would still have his life. So he had the chance to leave, because court look at that. People look at that. Did you have a chance to leave the situation? Conflict resolution is something schools need to teach, and we need to teach our kids, which a lot of kids nowadays don't have. Conflict resolution. How to resolve conflicts without getting into the conflict, pretty much. They said leave. Okay. I don't like where I don't want to be where I'm not wanted. I'm out of here, y'all. I'm going to beat you in a race later. See you at the 400, 100. That's what I would have did and kept going. Took it out on the track. Y'all want to kick me out 10? All right, then. Let's see what's on the track then. Any of you guys ever play football, basketball, sports? Any of you guys? I did. How many times, if you play football, and it happened a lot. You in your huddle with your team, or you're on your other sideline with your team, and if somebody from another team wants to be a knucklehead and come over and spy or walk by or get close to y'all, something like that, and then somebody, man, get the F up out of here, and they push him. Get out of here. It happens all the time. Nobody got stabbed. Nobody got shot. It happens all the time. There's some adults saying, why would they put their hands on them? I understand. You're not supposed to put your hands on anybody. Yes, you are right. You're not supposed to. But these are 17-year-olds. You have to remember back to when you were 17. And if you played sports, these guys are highly competitive. And speaking of football, they all played football. So they're used to pushing and shoving. That's what you do on a football field. You push and shove. So they're used to it. No excuses. Yeah, you should all keep your hands to yourself. But because of that doesn't mean you should get stabbed. I'm just saying. But yeah, if he would have never had the knife in the first place, then what are we looking at now? So my question would be, why did you even have it? Think of it this way, break it down even further, which I know an individual personally this happened to. You're drinking, you get drunk, you get in the car, you start driving. You know you're not supposed to be drinking and driving. You know it's against the law. You know you can hurt somebody. You know you can kill somebody. You're driving down the street. Somebody's walking in the middle of the street. They're not using a crosswalk. They're just walking, or they walk across the street. Now, this person might be drunk too, not paying attention. And then you hit them. You kill them. Who you think is going to be at fault here? The person walking across the street drunk, or you driving drunk? Now, you can argue all day. Well, he shouldn't be drinking and walking through the street, where you shouldn't be in the car in the first place drinking. If you were walking and ran into him, walk drunken or whatever you want to call it, different story. Y'all bump heads, fall on the ground, y'all alive. But you chose to get in the car, which can kill somebody, and you hit him and you killed him. I know somebody personally that happened too. Now, if you can look at it that way, like that guy shouldn't be drinking and driving in the first place, why can't we look at it as Karmelo shouldn't even have the knife at the track in the first place? He knows this knife can hurt somebody. He knows the knife can possibly kill somebody. Unless he is naive and don't know, and if that's the case, the defendant should have had some professional witness on the stand talking about Karmelo's mental, which he should have had that in the first. He should have had that in the first place. A doctor up there saying, hey, 17-year-old kid, they make indecisions. Their frontal lobe hasn't grown up yet. They're not responsible in certain situations. They should have had a professional up there, but did they? No. They had the witness say it was Karmelo's fault. And like I said earlier, I don't think Karmelo's innocent. Yeah, he needs to be in jail. I think so. For first degree, I don't know about that one. Manslaughter, yes, I agree with you all day. He got 35 years. Do I think that is too long? Way too long? Be honest with you, I held a live. And in my live, I asked, how long do you think Karmelo should get? I had 300 people in the live at that time. You know what the majority of the people said? Almost everybody said 25 to 30 years. Almost everybody said 25 to 30 years. He got 35. Now here's the thing. He doesn't have to serve all 35. He's got to serve 17 and a half more years. Austin Metcalf was 17 and a half when it happened. So he's got to lose 17 years of his life locked behind bars before he can possibly get out. So he's got 17 years to make up what he did. 17 years to prove that he can be a productive member of society. 17 years to show remorse, to show regret, to show that he made a mistake. 17 years he has to show that. That's a long time. Not everybody makes parole on their first time, especially for a violent offense. It actually is hard. But he has time. He would get out, 35 years old? He's still got a long life to live. Longer than Austin's life. Some people are mad at the situation. They're mad. 35 years is a long time. Yes, 35 years is a long time. But if he works on himself and he gets out at 17, yes, it is long. But hey, the person I told you about who was drinking and driving, I think he was 12. He got 12 years. And I think he served, it was 9 or 10 of it. So I think he got a fair deal, if you ask me. Now, he did put in an appeal. He did put an appeal in. We will see how that works. Okay. I have to look into the details of what the reason is for the appeal, because they have to state the reason, right? I don't know if they're doing it because of the jurors. There was no black jurors involved, which we'll talk about that. So a lot of people are saying it was an all-white jury. It wasn't all white. Okay. It was Hispanic. I think it was an Asian or two on there, and then it was white. Okay. So you had Hispanic, Asian, and white. So it wasn't all white technically. All right. But there was no black, African American, whatever you want to call us. There was none of us on there. Okay. The way the jury process selection works usually is both sides will get a list of all the jurors. We're talking about hundreds of people. And then both sides, what they do is they start doing background checks on these potential jurors. They go through their social media. They'll look at all that, guys. They look to see who donated to certain programs. Like, let's say, for example, there was a black guy and he donated to Black Lives Matter. Then the prosecution might not want him on there because he's so pro-black that he's going to vote Karmelo innocent no matter what, right? Then on the defensive side, if this one donated to some skinhead society, then they don't want him on there because he's going to vote guilty no matter what on Karmelo. So you guys get where I'm going, right? So they'll do background checks on them and stuff like that. And then they'll slim it down into more. And then they'll start picking them, okay? Well, each side has strikes. And I believe in Texas, it was 10 strikes, I think. It might be 12, but I think it was 10. A strike is if you see a juror that the opponents want, you can use one of your strikes. And then you can say, hey, I don't want this juror here because of this. Okay. And if the reason's good enough, then the judge will dismiss that juror. All right. So they can say, hey, this juror shouldn't be on here because they know the defendant. Oh, he's got to go. That's a strike used, right? Now, excuse me, there's a law. The law is called the Batson. Okay. The Batson law pretty much is you cannot disqualify a jury member due to their ethnic background, their race or color. All right. So that is the Batson law. Now, the reason why it's called the Batson because the person's last name was Batson. Just like Miranda rights, all these laws usually come from the case of the person with the last name. Miranda, that was the person with the last name. But so there was 3 jurors who were black. But the issue the prosecution had was apparently they worked with the education system or something like that. So he said they might be biased. And the judge said, okay, they're done. They can't be on the jurors. And then I started thinking, why didn't the defense have a more, they wanted people on there black. Why didn't they have a more variety of black people? Why not just have, why they only have people from the education background? Why not have this person from education? Maybe this person's a janitor. Who knows? This person works at Foot Locker. Why not have different people? But they also have to select from the people of that district. So for example, if that district has a population of, let's say 60% white, 15% Latino, then you only got what, 25% black. So you might not have that many black people to choose from after that. And they have to be qualified to be on the jury. They can't have these felonies. They can't, there's a lot of things that go into play. So that's why some of these jurors sometimes don't have a lot of certain varieties of people. It depends on where they're selecting a juror from, where the case takes place, and all that happens. But I wonder, like, why didn't he have more of a variety of black jurors then? Why they all have an education background? Because now the prosecution, once they say a strike on this one for education, now the other 2 got to go. So defense just messed up, totally messed up. This situation, I'm actually seeing it personally in the streets. I got some friends who are white that own some businesses. And I live down here in Florida. I'm in the South. And, people are calling their business saying, hey, are you black owned? And he would say no, and they hang up the phone now. He hasn't had that now, but since what's happened with Karmelo, he's got that call 7 times. And he's like, and he's not black. He's hired about 25 people. Half of them are black. So in reality, if you're not hiring his company because it's not black owned, you're still not putting money in the pockets of the black people who at least work there. Because they need people like you to make the money so they can feed their black families. So it doesn't make sense. You ain't just hurting the owner, you're hurting the people that work there who are black. But hey, I like to think beyond the surface level, think beyond the surface level. Let me know what you guys think about this, all right? Hopefully, after listening to this, I can give you some thought provoking, all right? And whatever thoughts, answers you have, go ahead, leave below. Leave below. We are not biased here. Don't hate on each other. You can say what you want. Go ahead, say it below, okay? Because I'm all about an open debate and I'm all about an open discussion. And I said earlier, I can see why some black people have talked about, hey, black versus white. I can see why. And the reason why I can see why is because in the history of the court system, especially in the South and certain districts, yeah, black people have got the SHITTY end of the stick. None of us can deny that. None of us can deny that. So I can see that. And then some people want to compare his case to other cases and things like that. The one case they compared to was the cop. What's her name? The girl, I think it was out of Texas. Was it Amanda? I forgot. You guys let me know below. What was her name? The one who thought she was walking into her own apartment, but really wasn't. She was walking to the other guy's apartment and then pulled out her pistol and shot him and he passed away. Remember her? I saw people comparing this case to that. And they're like, she only got 10 years, manslaughter, whatever. But you know what the difference is? Do you know what the biggest difference is in that case compared to this one? She took the stand.
And you fired? Why did you fire?
So I was scared. Scared this person's apartment was gonna hurt me. And I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Ms. Ivory, could you please repeat your answer?
I was scared. Whoever was inside my apartment was gonna kill me. And I'm sorry. I have to live with that every single day that I heard.
Judge, I object to non-responsive. Sustained.
Now that you know, you found out, and you came around that counter and shot an innocent man. How do you feel about that?
No police officer ever would want to hurt.
She took the stand. She showed her remorse. She showed she regret what she did. Whether you believed her or not, she still got up there and did it. That was the difference. And this is not Karmelo's fault. This is the adults around him, their fault. But you guys let me know below, all right? Please like, comment, subscribe. It adds to the algorithm. This video needs to be shared, needs to be talked about, all right? And please take care of one another. Love one another, all right? This is Ray Marcel. Next time, Fugitive TV, and I'm out.